Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. We're just going to give it a moment or two just while we let everybody join. Okay, so I think we're going to start. Sorry for running a few minutes late, just getting everything ready. My name's Steve Harley. I am the pre-sales director here at ACS, and I'm joined here today by Jamie Evans and Jessica Compton from Pragmatic. Today's session, Jamie's going to take us through some of the integrations that are available between Microsoft Dynamics 365 and Microsoft Teams. And see how these two tools can really work together to add some real value to your organisation. And Teams has been a fantastic tool for us at ACS, and I'm sure many of you on the call as well. And really, it's how do we take it to that next step and really make it sing? And there's some of the advantages of having Microsoft delivering both the CRM as well as your collaboration suite. During the course of the session, if you have any questions, the Q&As are open. What we will do is we will add them. If you can add any questions there, we'll address them at the end and try and just go through as many as we can. So if anything strikes you want to ask more about, please do hit the Q&A section and ask those questions, and we'll pick those up at the end. And so really, without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Stephen. Hello, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to this webinar where we're going to be going through the Microsoft Dynamics 365 and Microsoft Teams integration. So, although Stephen has introduced me, a little bit about myself. My name is Jamie Evans. I am the Technical Director at PragmatiQ Solutions. We are a Microsoft Dynamics 365 partner, and we specialize in designing and developing bespoke CRM systems and custom databases, with all of our solutions and systems leveraging Microsoft Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform. The agenda for today, I'm going to give a brief introduction into what is Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform, and likewise in a short overview into Microsoft Teams, but I'm sure a lot of you on the call are aware of what Microsoft Teams is. And then we're going to go into a demo, which will be highlighting some of the key features of the integration, but we'll also be discussing some business scenarios where we believe the integration works really well to aid that collaboration between different departments. Okay, so what is Microsoft Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform? So if you've heard of Dynamics 365 before, it might be in the capacity of on the CRM side, but also Dynamics spreads across the range of business applications, also into finance and operations. So you may have been aware of it working with Business Central or back in the day being Nav. But for this particular webinar, we're going to be focusing around the CRM side, and it's what Microsoft called the Customer Engagement Platform. And within that platform, there are 5 purpose-built applications by Microsoft. There's Sales, which helps sales teams manage leads, nurture opportunities, raise quotes and orders, for example. We have customer service, which is for customer service departments and call centers to manage incidents and cases to resolution. You have field service, which is for companies running field service operations to help them manage work orders and dispatch engineers into the field. We have marketing, which is fairly self-explanatory, but it's marketing automation software to help marketing departments and teams with their activities. And then finally, we have project service automation, which is to support companies who operate and offer project services such as construction companies and professional services organizations. But what you also get with Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform is the ability to build on top of those applications to make them bespoke for a particular industry or actually a particular individual business, if it might be that if particular individual needs. And we do that by using the tools within the Power Platform. So we have the three main applications within that, which is Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power BI. So if we start on the right hand side with Power Apps, we have Power Apps is kind of best described as like a business application framework where we can build and customize on top of the existing applications, or we can build from scratch some standalone custom databases, and also even get extended into the mobile applications as well. And then with Power Automate, this is a comprehensive workflow engine to drive automation within those business applications for automating processes and workflows. And then finally, we have Power BI, which is a business intelligence suite where we can connect to the data that's within the customer engagement platform to visualize that data and get insights into the data that is sitting within Dynamics 365. And then a little bit about Microsoft Teams. As I said, you're probably all aware of it, and then obviously it's getting more traction these days because of COVID-19. But if you're not aware of it, a little brief introduction. Teams is a chat-based collaboration tool by Microsoft that provides remote teams and disparate teams with the ability to be able to collaborate and share information via a common space, which is called a channel, which I'll explain and you'll see within the demo. It provides features to be able to collaborate on documentation, one-to-one chat, team chat, video calls, for example. And then there's of course integrations into the other Microsoft products, which are some of them highlighted there on the right hand side, where you have Planner around task management, Microsoft Forms for form submitting or surveys, OneNote for the OneNotes, etc. And of course Microsoft Dynamics 365, which we'll be focusing on in this particular webinar. During the demonstration, I'll be focusing on the three business scenarios. It's going to be around collaboration around sales opportunities. I'm going to show an example around how you could use it for account management. And then a non-sales related one is going to be around customer service, around the collaboration around the high priority case that needs to be resolved. And then also at the end of the demo, we'll be showing some additional features, which we have the Microsoft, the Dynamics 365 bot, which is actually an app within Microsoft Teams, where you can query and query the database and search the Dynamics database and get the results from Dynamics within Microsoft Teams. So that's a nice feature as well that might drive some value to your organizations. Okay, so I'm going to go into the demo now. I'm going to start out in Microsoft Teams. So this is the desktop app of Teams, and what we're going to focus on at the start is the scenario around working or collaborating around an opportunity. So for this scenario, the company is going to be a company who specializing in doing office and commercial property fit outs, and also provide furniture and equipment for those companies as well. And what I've done here is I've created a team called UK South Opportunity. So that is actually creating a team for a particular region. But likewise, that could be for a one-off opportunity. If you had a large opportunity, you could actually create the whole a team for the whole opportunity. If it runs over a long period of time, that could also be a good fit here. But this is one where I've actually created it for a region and a team. And so every team member will have access to salesperson will have access to that team, but also other departments can have access. So it's where they can loop in or collaborate with other departments such as design and the field engineers or the engineering team, for example. So what you have here, overall team, but then we have some channels underneath there, and the channels is where we start to communicate on, and there is a in this example there is one channel per opportunity. What I'll do now is I'll switch over to Dynamics 365, and we'll go and show how the collaboration works, or the integration works. So I'm in Dynamics 365. I'm in what's called the Sales Hub, so it's the sales application. And then we have we're in the opportunity, and you can see here we have some UK South opportunities as a view. I'm going to click into this particular opportunity here, and there are some information that's been filled out, a little bit of information about what it is, who's the account, it's for Warwick District Council, the contact, etc. We have some other information that's been populated by the salesperson, a description, and then some notes here around emails that have been sent, or sorry, timeline, emails that have been sent, tasks and notes, etc., to get a bit of a background of what's been going on in that opportunity. But at this moment in time, the salesperson wants to collaborate with other departments because the client wants to know some ideas around timescales and costs. So at this point, predominantly the salesperson will be working within the CRM, especially around opportunities. But at this moment in time, they want to start, collaborating, get some information from the other teams, other members of other departments. So what we want to do here is we're going to establish a connection to Microsoft Teams and create a channel for this opportunity. So we can click on the Collaborate button here in the top menu bar. We click Collaborate, and then we get a pop-up to get started. So I click on Get Started now, and what's going on now is it's going to retrieve the teams that I have already access to as a user. Now I can see here that we have several teams here, but I have this one called UK South Opportunities. So I'm going to click that particular team there and then click Next, and then it goes away and retrieves some of the channels. There is a little bit of a bug there with my system anyway. I need to do it the second time and then it works straight away. Hopefully you guys don't experience that, but it's something I've just noticed recently. So I get a list of channels that are currently there. I could add this opportunity to an existing channel, but for this scenario, I'm going to create a new channel. So I'm going to create it, and it asks me to then give a name. So I'm going to call it Warwick District, and then it's going to be office block fit out. So there's a little bit of information there, and I'll click Next. And then it comes back with some of the members that I can add it to, but I'm actually just going to click Finish here now. And when I click Finish, you can see here it's going to start up the connection. It says this could take a few minutes, but normally it only takes a few seconds, right on cue. And then we go to get a pop-up here, and then we open up Microsoft Teams. And then that comes back to the desktop app of Microsoft Teams. For your information as well, there's also a web app with Microsoft Teams to use it in a browser, but this demo is here showing it in the desktop application. And now what you can see here is it's created a new channel here for that particular opportunity. You get the standard tabs in there, which are posts and files, which I'll explain in a minute. But what you get here is the actual record within Dynamics shown or pinned at the top here, and the actual tab, the record has appeared it's embedded into the channel here. So I can see that it's successfully synchronized, and now I have the Dynamics record here visible in Teams. Now I can work with this particular record. If I have access as a user, I can actually do my normal job. So if I have access to be able to edit this particular record, I could add new notes. I could move it on to the next stage in the process, for example. So you can really work with it as you were working with it in Dynamics. And then if I had read-only access as a user, I'd be able to see the record. If I didn't have any access to Dynamics, then I wouldn't be able to see this particular record. So what you get here is the record that you can work with. Set all the features and functionalities are there. But one of the real good the benefits around having this record pinned here is this little chat option here. So you have the tab here. in the top right hand corner. If I was to click it, I can actually start a conversation with other people in this team around this particular record. So the person, when they get the notification that someone is asking them a question, they can go onto the channel, but they straight away they're seeing the opportunity that's related to it and any information about that opportunity. So for example, I might say to Daniel, I could say in here, at Daniel, for example, I've got some pre-pasted stuff here. Please take a look at the documents on this opportunity and give some guidelines around timescales for the delivery, for example. So that then gets sent, and Daniel will then get notified. If he's on his desktop or laptop, you get notified by the little pop-up there. But there is also a very strong mobile app for Microsoft Teams as well. So if he's on the road or remote somewhere, then he can actually reply and see that information on his mobile app as well. But what Daniel can do then, he can reply and can get a conversation going there, or we can also loop in other members of the team if we need to get some answers to questions. What you can also do as well down the bottom here is attach some documents, so you can start collaborating around documents. So for example, if I was to come back here and add that in there, I can say upload from my computer, and I'll just upload this, for example, as a test image, and then say, for example, please have a look at this spec. Just try that again. Click open. And then I'll say, please have a look at this example, and then I'll click send. And then that puts that could be a document, it could be an image, it could whatever attachment it might be. In this case, it's just an image, but that could be a document there. So you can have a back and forth conversation around this particular opportunity and loop in other departments. So it's the ease of getting the access and the quick access of chatting, using the chat features to be able to get answers to things quickly, but you get the visibility of working with the Dynamics record as well. What you then also get is that there is synchronization between the files within Dynamics and the files within the Teams channel. So for those of you who've used Dynamics 365 for sales before, or the customer engagement platform, and are aware of the SharePoint integration, when you establish a SharePoint integration to Dynamics, it creates a document library for that. The same way as when you integrate into Teams, it creates a separate document library for the channel. So for example, now there is files within the that particular picture is uploaded as a file in the file section. If I go back to Dynamics and then go to the file section on the tab and just click that there, you'll then see the same image there as well in the list. So it's synchronizing those two document libraries. So whatever application I'm in, I get access to those documents and everyone has that ease of access to the information that's needed. What we also have on here is on the post channel is that we get all of the correspondence that's been going on in the different tabs. You get a kind of summary of it here in the overall conversation channel, which is called posts. Obviously, I've showed you the files. Wiki is something that comes as default, but we normally remove that unless you want to use the sort of wiki features. But some also other add-ons that we tend to see clients using, and also we use internally ourselves, is that we can add extra tabs in here where we loop into or connect to other Microsoft products. A good one is Planner. So if it's a large opportunity, for example, you might want to start to divide tasks for different individual people and departments around getting information back around a particular opportunity. OneNote is also a good add in there as well if you've got large amounts of notes around a particular opportunity, or drawings or diagrams that you've been sketched up. That is a good one there, so everybody has access to that information. And then of course we have Dynamics 365 here as well. So this is the other way to integrate into Dynamics 365. So I've shown you the way to go from Dynamics 365 and create the channel automatically. But what I can also do here is actually click on Dynamics 365, and there is another way of bringing those records into here. I mean, what you also get is a way of pinning certain views in here as well. So the way I've showed you in Dynamics 365 is on certain, that collaborate button is only on certain records, but if you have some custom records or so some custom records that have been built, you can also integrate this way to those particular records. But what you can also do as well is to go on and select some of the views. So for example, if I was to go on here and I was to select the account, and then say here to say, I'll say one of my key accounts, for example, or actually I'll pick local authorities and click save there. What happens then is it adds another tab here to it, so I can have multiple tabs from Dynamics, but it is a view of certain, this is a view of a list of local authorities, which is a saved view in Dynamics there. So there are actually two ways of integrating into it. One that comes from Dynamics, and then the other way you can do it from within Teams itself. What you can also do as well is that when you're on a particular tab, you can use the button here to go to website. If you click that, it just shoots and takes you straight through to the corresponding record within Dynamics. There we go, and when that loads, and we straight through working with that particular opportunity there. If I jump back into Teams now, that was one scenario where I've shown, working on a particular channel for a particular opportunity, and then collaborating with other people within a department, other departments. But you could also have another scenario where you might have your a team for my key accounts, for example. So if I click on there, we then have a channel, which is a general one, which is a default that comes in, and then we have again we have the posts and the files for that particular channel. But again, we could have the views there where we can see the key accounts and obviously get access to those information. So I could click through to Warwick District Council, for example, and I'm then sort of seeing all the information there. So that's just another way that you could have a team there for an individual person, or a team that was responsible for those accounts, where they have the access to that information within Teams and not having to navigate over to Dynamics to access some of the key information there. It might be to get information around the timeline, it might be to see some of the current opportunities there, or it might be some of the files that are uploaded to that particular account. The other scenario around account management could be that you may even have a team for a particular customer. It could be a large customer, it could be one of your main customers where a lot of your orders are coming from. So you could even structure in it a way to actually have a team for a particular customer, and this really depends on if you go with a region or key accounts, or a team for a customer, or even, like I mentioned earlier, a team for an individual opportunity if it's going to be open for a long time and needs a lot of collaboration and tasks around it. It really depends on you as an organization, how you structure these teams and how you work with teams and channels. But this is just to show you a couple of the scenarios that could work around sales opportunities and account management. So we have Contoso here, which is a generic Microsoft company, and we have, for example, if I click on the general one here, we have the Contoso account record pinned here, where again we get access to that information. I might be a sales manager who wants to speak to one of their consultants around this particular account, or the phone call they've just had with them, etc. So I get the visibility to the timeline, but I can also start to chat with other people in the departments around that particular account. And then you could then extend that to have separate channels. There might be an ongoing proposal for that particular client, or an opportunity that is a large opportunity for that client as well, and you can then create separate channels within that particular team. You also, when you decide on how to structure this, it also depends on, I guess, security and who has access to what within your organization. So for example, when you have one key account, you can invite the people who have to the team who are relevant for that particular account. Whereas in this example, the whole UK sales team will have access to all the opportunities. So it really depends on how you want to structure it. Another option is to actually have a team per account manager or a team per sales consultant for that person to only, and the sales manager of that person to only have access to that team and only see the channels and the opportunities that they're working on individually. Okay, so that was the sales example. We have the opportunities, and then we have the key account examples here. I'm going to move on to another example which is related more to customer service. So I'm going to switch back to Dynamics 365, and I'm actually going to switch the app over to the customer service hub, where we have what's called cases. Now, there is a case here in the list which is a high priority case, a roof system failure. So just load that record. And likewise with the the sales opportunity, excuse me, the sales opportunity. We this is a high priority case that needs to be escalated to a manager or another department, and we need to be able to collaborate on it. So the customer service representative is working on this case, but they need to get some collaboration around it. This scenario we're talking about is a priority 1 case, but it could be a scenario where they had to get some collaboration or some information from an engineer about a particular case. So we have the option here again to click on the collaborate button in the ribbon. We click, we get started, and then it goes again and loads the teams that I have access to. And we have this team called P1 cases. This is priority 1 cases. So I click on that particular team, I click next, and it will then display the channel list. If I go back and do it for the second time, it pulls back the channels. I can add it again to a current channel, or I can create a new channel in the list here. So I click on the create the new channel, and I'll say roof system failure P1 priority 1 case. So I'll click on next, and then I'll click finish on here. And again, it's just going to establish that connection, the same process. It takes a couple of seconds to establish the connection. You get a pop-up, and then you click on open Microsoft Teams, and then we're back into Microsoft Teams in the desktop app. Then what we have here, if we go back into open up the P1 cases, we then have another channel for that particular case. So exactly the same sort of approaches and opportunities, but we're actually collaborating around a particular case here. And again, I can start a conversation with Daniel. Daniel's going to be busy, saying, please take a look at this case, and let me know your thoughts, for example. There we go, and we send that, and it might be, you know, Daniel can come on here straight away. You can see what the customer service representative wants, and then he's straight into the Dynamics record there. So again, just saving that time, not having to move between applications, but also to be able to see all the information there while he's having a chat with the customer service representative. Likewise, the files will get synchronized. You have a whole document library there to exchange any files around that particular case. But it's very similar functionality that we've shown there. I think the real value comes in around having the record pinned as a tab in Teams, and also that chat feature, the back and forth around that particular chat. And also, if you loop somebody else into the conversation, when they go into the post section, they can get a history of everything that's been discussed around that particular case as well. So it's also good from the perspective that if somebody comes on and is, like I said, is introduced into this case at a later stage, they're not having to ask people to get filled in around what's been going on. They have all of that in a timeline there that they can get access to that information. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to show you before we go on to the Q&A is actually what's called it's the Dynamics 365 app, which is embedded into Teams. Now, if you click the 3 little dots, I've pinned it out the side here, but if you haven't done that before, you can go to the 3 dots and there'll be an app called Dynamics 365, and you can right click on it and then pin it to the side menu here. So if I click on Dynamics 365 now, it now takes me through to a separate area, which is its own dedicated app for Dynamics 365. I'll show you some of the features in a second, but if you can go to the the setup here into settings, and if you're working with multiple organizations, you can pick which organization it is related to. This is connected to our demo environment. And then if you run multiple apps within Dynamics 365 as well, you can also pick certain apps here. So we've got project service, for example, or customer service, but in this case, we're doing the Sales Hub scenario. And then we have the My Dashboard tab as well, which is basically gives you the capability to work with Dynamics like you would in a mobile form or using the tablet app for Dynamics 365. So it's not exactly the same interface as you'd work with the desktop version, but you can work with the application here. So I can go through and see accounts, for example, and then go and start to work with Dynamics here. So I go to my key accounts. That's the same view there. I can go through and click down into the particular record, and then go back and forth. For example, to go back to where I was in the process. You can really work with Dynamics there. So again, just not having to switch between applications and work with Dynamics in the web browser. It's embedded into Teams. You also get access to dashboards as well. So you can see a quick level there. You can see your dashboard, your high level information. Could even be a Power BI dashboard as well that is pinned within Dynamics, where you get some more insights into insights into the data. And then I could go and open up Power BI there if I wanted to go and check out the data behind those top level figures, for example. But let me show you some of the chat features. We have it's basically a bot that will go off and query the Dynamics database. So for example, if I say search Warwick district, I need to make sure I spell this correctly. District, example, it will go away and it will go and return the results that it finds for Warwick district. It comes back, you can see it's saying Dynamics 365 is typing. It'll come back here and it said, I've found an account, I've found the people, the contact records of the people that work there, and there's also 5 opportunities that are open for Warwick district in there. So if I click on Warwick district, it then goes away and queries it again, and it comes back and it gives me some information about, what's their address, who the account manager is, annual revenue, what type of account they are, they're a local authority, the website, for example, and that can be customized to have whatever fields you want in there. And then you also get the option to show contacts for that particular organization, and then also show opportunities as well. So for example, if I click on the show contacts, it will go there again, a query again, and come back with the 4 contacts. So if I hit Michelle Matthews there, I then get the information from Michelle Matthews, the email address, the job title, etc., the phone number, and then I can see the opportunities that are related to Michelle, or I could just go and open up Michelle's record in Dynamics and jump straight through to it to get some more information about Michelle. So it's a good way of being able to quickly query the Dynamics database without having to switch over to Dynamics. You'd be working within Teams a lot. You can go to there, quickly search for a particular record, and it presents what it finds from the Dynamics database. Okay, so that was the last thing I wanted to show you around the Dynamics and Teams integration. I think we'll now hand back over to Stephen, where we will go over the Q&A if there's been any questions during that particular session.
Thank you, Jamie. Fascinating stuff. I haven't got any questions at the moment. If you have got questions, if you wave your mouse around, these should be able to bring up the little menu, and you'll see the Q&A icon there. You may need to hit the 3 dots button for more actions and go into it if it's hidden away from you. No, so far. I'll give everybody a few more moments just in case they're typing away. No, we've no questions, Jamie, by the looks of it.
Okay.
I'm sure if anybody does have a question or wants to pick up a conversation with Jamie or with ACS, then of course, do reach out after this. Jamie's details are there for you all in the meantime. No, nothing. I think if you knocked it out of the park there, Jamie.
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
No worries.
Great.
Well, look, thank you everybody for joining us. It's been really useful. Hope that you have a great day today and stay safe. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.